to what we wrote down to make sure we get to the thing we said we're going to get to on the day we said we're going to get there. And so systemizations are really an important part of really being successful in anything. And I am complete.
Absolutely.
Lakisha, George, is this something that you wanted to chime in on?
No, I was just saying what he's saying is absolutely correct. You have a plan, and if you have a plan, that's a good plan, and you follow it. That way, you always check along the way to make sure all the things that are important in transactions on the transaction itself side is met and is met in a very positive way. And then that allows those clients to be more impressed with you than they are with someone else, because even the small things were taken care of, and that's because you had them all in a plan. If you don't have a plan, you'll miss a lot of stuff along the way, and people will be, "Oh, I like him, but he didn't do this or they didn't do that." And so the thing is to if you know your business, you know the things that you have to go through on each transaction. Sometimes it might be smaller on some versus another, but you still got to deal with those things. And if you hit it and they say, "Oh no, that's something we've already taken care of," then that's fine. You've cleared it, and now you're in the clear on that portion. So being completely transparent is always the best way to do it.
I completely agree. And one of the things that I found most recently, I'm working with a client who's in pre-foreclosure, is that I needed to get support from outside of just myself, right? So who else do I need to add to collaborate to get to the end goal of my client selling his property? So Ray came in as a support, as a collaborator. We have now an attorney. The client has a duplex and both units are rented out, and both tenants are paying way below market rate. And so we were creating a strategic plan to ensure that we can navigate the waters that come with this particular challenge in this particular case. So I would say you have a strong team of folks and that they can implore other folks that they have need of to be able to get you to your finish line, get you to the goal, get you to where you want to be. And so just strategically planning and also utilizing your network of real estate professionals.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. George, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I've said it. Thank you.
Okay. I do have a question that I want to get to from is it Katina? She asked a question, but before I get to her question, I wanted to we have a guest who has a unique perspective. Anika, are you available to hop on and maybe provide some insight? Because I know she does some work with through the city of San Francisco, and working with historically Black communities and helping them achieve home ownership. And I know she's been privy to a number of transactions and the interactions in the midst of those transactions, and hoping that if she's available, no pressure, but if you're available, if you want to provide some perspective. And so, but I did want to, because I did promise that I would get the questions that are in the chat addressed. So I think this might be geared more towards you, Mr. Tribble, and anybody else who has access to private mortgage lenders. So
Hmm.
a question, and I hope I'm pronouncing, I hope I'm not butchering your name because I hate when people do it to mine. Is my question is I'm quoting Katina. Is my question is that I need a PML for a $450,000 deal ASAP. I need to sit down with someone ASAP. Please give me a call and her number. She just listed her number in the chat. So I want to
Okay.
bring your attention to that, Mr. Tribble, and anyone else that might have
Okay.
access to private mortgage lenders.
Okay. You want me to make a comment now or
Oh,
or
on
that?
that particular thing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Katina, do we George
Or
is going to
she
comment on
can
your
call me,
question.
or let me give her number, then I got hers, and then we can call afterwards if yeah.
Yes, that's what we're here for. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Making
All
connections.
righty. Give me your number again real quickly.
510
Mm-hmm.
736
Mm-hmm.
6139.
39. Thank you. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Awesome, bringing it together. And then two, I saw Anika said she's happy to kind of chime in here on the topic because, like I said, Anika, are you available?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. I know I'm putting you on the spot. You weren't expecting this, but I said, you know what? Like you've been privy to so much and you've done so I mean, Anika has like was it 5 to 10x the number of black homeowners through her program in the city of and county of San Francisco. And I just have the privilege of working alongside her. And I just I'd be remiss if I didn't ask her to chime in here and kind of share her perspective.
Yeah, sure. I didn't really get the what
Oh,
topic we talking about, so you
no,
just
no, 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 no. It's
give me a little
fine.
guidance.
So I got you. So the question is, can you share an example of a time when effective collaboration between a broker, buyer, and investor led to a successful deal, and what lessons you learned from that experience?
Yeah, so as Ray mentioned, I've been able to see what 72 transactions thus far go through. First time home buyers become homeowners in San Francisco, which is pretty incredible considering all of the barriers and challenges that exist. But I think throughout all of those transactions, I think somebody mentioned, I believe it's Charles mentioned, like you got to know what you want and you got to go for it. And so most of these transactions, folks have stated, I want to be a homeowner. I want to live here. I want to have this. And then they start to connect themselves with real estate agents and brokers who can actually align themselves in making sure that their goal can be achieved. And throughout the challenges though, because there's a ton of challenges that comes especially when you're first time buying a home, and being able to kind of ride those waves and go through those challenges has been a key, and also leaning on your support. I know, for instance, I do a circle meeting every third Saturday to support first time home buyers, either those who have already successfully participated and are homeowners, and those who are still going through the steps and trying to figure their way. Um, and I do this because it allows for peer support. It also allows for motivation, and it allows for people to hear other people's stories as they're going through things, because you think you're alone and you're not. And so I think that has been successful as well. And being a part of the city and county, allowing folks to have access to me, being able to reach out to me whenever there's a challenge or whenever they feel like, hey, this is not possible, or I'm having some struggles. Those are key points as well that I think that makes it important, or that makes these transactions, or have made these transactions, successful. Also, we do housing counseling training. Our folks go through first time home buyer training and workshops to really understand what you're getting yourself into, so that you're not blindsided, or you feel a little bit more comfortable in making sure that you're, on the right path and are achieving your goals in the way that you want to. So I hope that was enough, Ray.
No, that I think what you place emphasis on is important, and I'm glad that you were piggybacking off of what Charles was saying earlier. Is that yes, you need a team, you need someone like in the midst of like when you're kind of determining that compatibility between you and an agent, you gotta figure out how are they helpful? They might be technically sound, but when it comes to the qualitative aspects or the coaching aspects of that job, they may not be exactly, they might not be able to fulfill that need. So you have to supplement that with someone like a life coach or some type of coach to get you through the finish line. Like I said, that board of directors to help you reach success long term. Because, and then that's a good segue because I did want to talk about, because we're talking about wealth building, right? So wealth builders, so multifamily real estate is just a part of that. A part of wealth building is a wealth building tool. And so I wanted to leverage some of the professionals here today, like a George, like a Charles, and I know Dimitri, and others, and we got other homeowners and other folks who can give some insights. I want you to chime in on this next wealth building question. And if I may segue, Lakisha, is that okay?
Absolutely. Perfect timing. And just to do a time check is 12:10.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to check in with our SMEs in the room, and this is decentralized. I know we got some subject matter experts all throughout, but kind of starting with our leaders who are here with us today, who has afforded us the opportunity to hear from them. Can you share some things you learned about wealth building along your journey you wish to share with others? Like, what are some key things that you like to share with this group? Some of the most valuable lessons learned, like along your vicissitudes and the challenges and tribulations that you've gone through. Like, what are like some extracts?
Yeah. Okay, I'll jump in first. I love jumping in. One of the things I think is really what's really most important a lot of times is first to believe you can, because it really is going to be done until you believe. It's just if you don't think you can do it, you won't. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. I mean, and it's that idea that the confused mind doesn't take action. And if we're confused, we won't do that. And so part of it, I think, is one, so often we make what our minimum is our maximum, which is to say, like, if we know we need money and I need $2,487 to pay my bills, we go out to make $2,487. And my thing is, no, you want to go out to look at least three times what you want, because part of those things are going to fall apart. And all your eggs are in one basket and you're not diversified. I mean, it's like if you're a real estate agent and you got one client and that's your whole thing about livelihood, you got to balance it out. You got to have that space where you're working with the client you have, you're nurturing the ones you're working to get. I mean, so it's not just, it's now 3, 6 months from now and a year from now. But the truth of it is that for most things, you just got to believe and trust and go for it. I mean, I met Ray not that long ago, and it's funny because I knew Ray's dad. I did some real estate transactions with his father. And I met Ray because I've got some guys that are selling a $20 billion gold mine. And then someone referred me to Ray and his team because they have some people that may be interested in buying it. Now, a year ago, I had never even done anything with gold or anything like that. But I'm looking around going, wait a minute. These commodity guys are making a bunch of money, and gold is, I mean, and I may not understand gold, but I understand business. And before I knew it, when I called Ray the first time we chatted, I was like, look, I don't really know all the stuff, because I always say that because, it lets people be willing to share with you. And because I don't think I have all the answers. I don't have many of them. But as I sat with him and we went through all the stuff, he's like, oh, you sound like you've done 1,000 of these. And that's how it's supposed to sound. But the point becomes the vision of holding your highest and best. Whatever you believe in, God, the universe, your creative process, doesn't matter. Whatever that thing says to you, that says to yourself that I can do whatever it is, we can do that. And so, like, I'm working on this gold mine stuff. I got a boy of mine. We just got approved to sell gold directly to refineries. A year ago, I couldn't even spell gold. I mean, even with things like I'm working on, I've set up a thing to do voter registration. It isn't going to make me any money, but I just know our voice needs to be heard. And so I got a piece where people are registering to vote via cell phone. We're going to get 20 million new voters by the 2026 election. I mean, and so, and will I make it there? You better believe I will. And if I wouldn't, I wouldn't say I wouldn't. But the goal is we got to hold a vision of the highest and best. We got to not be, it's okay to be afraid. Webster's dictionary says courage is being afraid, but choosing to act anyway. We can be scared all the way to the bank. We can be scared all the way to the relationship. And here's the last thing I just want to throw in, because it just came to me. I don't know who this is for. But
Jacket?
that piece about being
Jacket?
shy, I really want to help people around that. Let that go. Because, here's the bottom line. Shy people don't usually win. Because while you're being shy, Ray walked over and already got the job. While you're being shy, George watched. Lakisha's already went and done the thing while you're sitting back feeling, I know it's tricky because we are taught to not brag and not talk about ourselves. And I'm saying, yeah, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of I'm better than someone, then that's different. But the reality is, how do people know who you are if you don't tell them? If it's a room full of folk, you got to give your best. You got to share your best. You got to speak it from the place you want it from. And I give those examples and say, I'm a brother from Oakland. When I graduated high school, I could barely read. I'd never read a book. I ain't been to college for a day. I'm working on my third book right now. I've done workshops to thousands of people. I've helped thousands of people buy houses. I've done all these things. And I can say it's because I've had people around to support me and to help me get there, even when I didn't think I could. And so I just share that to say, don't limit what you want. Don't be ashamed to say, I want to be a trillionaire if that's what you want, because that's how you get there. And I'm complete.
I'm just gonna pop in right quick. Thank you so much, Charles, for saying that. I don't know. The Bible says, "Without a vision, the people perish." So the very first thing in your journey to wealth building is having a vision for yourself, having a vision for your family, having a vision for the purchase of your properties, having a vision for speaking to the gold, right? Whatever you want to do, it first starts with you having a clear vision of where you're going. He brought up trillionaire. In my mind, I'm constantly saying, I'm a multimillionaire. I'm a multimillionaire. And then how do I envision myself as a multimillionaire? I see myself purchasing property after property after property, building my portfolio. You have to have one, a vision first, right? Two, once you have that vision, establish your goal. I purchase 10 properties at $1 million. What is it that's specific to you that you want that's going to drive you to getting to your destiny? And the last thing is you must have a plan. So you already created your vision, you've established your goals, and now your plan is how you're going to accomplish it. I wanted to leave y'all with that.
Yep, very good.
Love it. I love it. Mr. Tribble,
Yes, sir.
wealth building.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us. I appreciate
Well,
it.
I think in terms of, and the day we're talking about, because there's so many ways you can build it, but I believe the most consistent way is investing in real estate, and there's so many ways you can do it. Uh, I've looked at Asian clients that I've had. They've come over to America. Many of them comes over with some reasonable amount of cash with them, but those who don't have cash, what they do is they will get together. It might be two or three families, and the Hispanics do the same thing. They'll put their money together, buy a house, and all three of the families move in. And you say, God, that's tight. I'd never do that. And I think we as African Americans, we've kind of decided that we just don't want to have too many people in our house that we're sharing it with. But they will share that. And maybe after 5 years, they've built up some equity and they've saved money because all of them are paying on that. And now what they do is one of them will buy a second house and that they could not afford on their own, but all of them are on the note and help them with the qualification. And then they'll do it another time. And after 15 years, all of them have a nice home that they could not have afford on their own. And so you have to come together when you don't have all that money uh, to be able to get into the marketplace. And some of them need that at the very bottom of the marketplace, especially here in California, because the cost of living is so high. But it works no matter where it is, but you have to be cooperative if you don't have the money yourself to do it. So that's one way of getting into the real estate market and starting. Uh, I have a son who's 52, and so he just recently got really heavily in real estate. He was doing stuff back in the early 2000, and when we had the crash in 2008 and 9, he lost three properties, and so he went back and had to start all over. And so he just started all over again 2 years ago, and he was just planning on this, saving money, and now he's back in the market. Instead of buying in California, he thought it was too expensive, so he's bought property back in North Carolina, and so he was back there, and he has some of these units that he's bought that are short-term rentals. And so it looks like that's starting to work for him. And so the thing is that you have to be aggressive, but you have to have a vision. It's hard to be aggressive if you don't have a vision of where you want to go, what you want to do. And that could change as you move forward. It could get bigger or it could stay flat, but you have to have some kind of vision to start going down that road. And then you say, how do I get there? And so sometimes it may not be where you live, but it might be you have to do some traveling to get to that property or whatever that is that's going to help you to complete your goal. So I just say people have to be open to the marketplace and have to really talk to people because a lot of people have done things that are different, and we may have not heard of somebody doing that or how they went about doing it. But the more you talk to people about your ideas, the more information you get that will help your ideas along the way.
I love it.
Hey Ray, can I
Love.
can I piggyback a little bit on what George just said real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I just want to say I love what George mentioned. I was thinking the best and the worst loan I ever did in my entire life. There was 17 people on it.
Yeah.
17. 17.
Yeah.
And with FHA, you could even do non-occupying co-mortgagors. So it was 17 folk. And somebody said to me, look at them. But it wasn't even 2 years later. Then the next one bought a house. Then a year and a half later, the next one bought a house. And from those initial group of 17, before I stopped doing mortgage stuff, they had bought 7 houses. Everybody had got something, and so they worked together. But the point I wanted to make about when, as George was talking, a lot of times what we always think is, well, yeah, but I don't have the money. That's okay. Well, where the money going to come from? It's going to come from wherever it is. Here's the thing, in the African American community, nobody talks about this a lot, but there's like 2 million African American millionaires. 2 million. And that ain't LeBron and Steph. We know all those people. This is George and Ray. They just ain't telling you they're millionaires. But there's 2 million African American millionaires. And so it's like 1 in 52 or 3 households. That's an amazing statistic. We're the fastest growing group of millionaires and billionaires in America. And we're the second largest, biggest group. So the point is, our cousin got some money. We have to, here's the thing. We've got to build a plan. You build the plan. It's like I told the story of where's G, and you do an alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F. And it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, E, F. Everybody want to say G. If you go A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K, you get all the alphabet there. G is going to want to get in that position. And if it's just about money, there's a bunch of folk who have money who don't have the time or the energy or the understanding to do more with it than put in the bank and get 1%. So there's a lot of ways to make that happen. But the point is, you go for it and then you find the pieces that's missing. Because there are people, I mean, I was just thinking like Donald Trump and Elon Musk and those guys. They don't use their money. Donald Trump goes and gets financing to buy properties. And people will say, well, they won't lend it to me. Of course they will. They're going to charge you more points than they may charge Donald. But the bottom line is, I met with a guy a couple of weeks ago, as a contractor I know, and he was buying a house, looking to buy a house in West Oakland, and he could buy the house for 300,000. He could put 100,000 in it, and then he could sell it for like 800,000, give or take. And he was like, well, what do I do? And I was saying, well, don't buy it. He said, what do you mean don't buy it? I said, well, if you want to do what Donald Trump does is buy a hotel for 300 million, he puts 100 million in it, and then he sells it for 800 million. It's the same exact equation, just more zeros. And we just have to understand that the same people that would have lent anyone else the money will lend it to us. We just have to go out there and go for it. I mean, I'm doing this gold stuff and different things and voter registration. I didn't know nothing about those things. But as I learned about them, I realized there were only a few pieces that were missing. And then I went and attracted the pieces because here's the other part. As you're building your team and you get an appraiser and you get a termite guy and you get a contractor and you get a project manager, they know investors, they know other people that bridge that gap for you. And so the goal is we just have to go for it and make that happen and just know that it's doable. And I'm complete. Thank you.
That was powerful. And I was able to extract so much. I was taking notes from both of you. Well, all of you, I would say. When Lakisha talked about the mindset piece and having a plan and having a vision And also that was reiterated by George and yourself. Like that was something that was touched on by everyone. And then when cooperative, that was something that George mentioned and you reemphasized. He said 17 people on one loan, right? That was one thing. That's one barrier, that mental barrier that we need to get past, right? I would say most of us, not all of us, because some of us are still doing these deals with each other. And how do you eliminate doubt or eliminate the what ifs? To have an operational agreement, have the paperwork, have that spelled out, ironed out. And then another point that George made, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that story about your son. It reminded me of a quote by Dr. Miles Monroe that I often quote is failure is never fatal and success is never final. It's when your son, he lost those houses in the big, what they call it, the house of cards. When the house of cards fell, he didn't give up and, curl up and say, I'm never going to be in real estate again. He bet not with a dad like you. But he got up, dusted himself off, and he's back in the mix. And he just
Yeah,
had a different flavor,
yeah,
right? He
yeah,
got the tropical punch. He said, okay, I'm cool off the red Kool-Aid. I'm gonna do the tropical punch. I'm gonna do the short-term real estate.
yeah,
Worked out for him.
yeah. And now he lives in uh, San Leandro, at the top of the hill, overlooking the bay. You can
Really?
see the bridge, two of them, and so I mean, his life has just continued to get better, and so they've never given up. Real religious person too. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, and for Brother Shannon, his failure is never fatal and success is never final. And I can't say that enough about where we are because we learn because you didn't fail because you learned. You're like, damn, I didn't. How would I remix it and do it differently?
hmm
Is what I think about. And then how do I tap in with George so I can glean from him? Because George has been an open book. Charles has been an open book. We go on walks together. And while we're walking and getting our exercise and our steps, we're sharing game. It's an exchange.
hmm
Right. And then two, because what I think about when I'm talking to my brothers and sisters about, cooperative economics and taking the next step, you don't have to talk the King's English to get some of these deals done. You don't have to talk, perfect English. And it's if you get, of course, communication is important. I'm not trying to discount that. Just understand that um, as long as you have your ducks in a row, and you've done your research and due diligence, and you can present that, you'll be fine. And you have a team with you.
yeah,
That's a great point, Ray. And you think about it, like I think about it in regards to like rap. I never thought it would cross over to where every record label is doing some rap, where Snoop Dogg is hosting the Super Bowl and bringing the new year with Dick Clark with his and he's dropping like it's hot, sniggle sniggle. And so the point becomes, at the end of the day, what people want is they want people that can get it done. And if you can get it done, even if, I mean, it's more effective. I mean, it's about code switching. That's a cute word for talking about being able to be in whatever room you're in. But at the end of the day, I mean, because people say to me often, well, Charles, I'm a brother and you go in these rooms, these other groups of people, they don't always want to give me a chance. And, I'm a sister and da da da, whatever these things are. And I'm like, well, okay, I get it. And I agree with you completely. That's what may happen. But the reality of it is, I love that because what that means is you're underestimating me. And I walk in and I got my locks and I have them back here when I'm on the camera, so you don't look like
didn't know it
it's
was
like all
there.
this. That's right. You don't know it's there because who knows who's looking? You know what I mean? But when I'm at home, I was born in Oakland. I lived in the Acorn, the Morehouse, and the Cypress Village. I grew up in the projects right here in Oakland. Then we moved to Alaska, and I lived in the projects in Alaska, and none of that matters. But the reality of it is, at the end of the day, when people say, well, I want people to underestimate me because when I walk in the room and I do what just I'm supposed to do, then I'm special. Oh, you're not like those other ones. You're different. I was like, yeah, cool. Great. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because, we want folk to underestimate us. And we want to go in, it's like I tell people, you undercommit so you can overachieve. If you know you're going to be somewhere by 12, say 12:15. you can always be 15 minutes early. I mean, that kind of thinking, but don't take that as a disadvantage. If people, because at the end of the day, if you're talking about business, folk are in business to make money. And at the end of the day, if you can help them do that, if you can solve their problem, they may go home and say, yeah, that Charles, his hair is way too long, but he solved my problem. That's what you'll get. So I'm just saying that to say, don't
Yeah.
get stuck in, I don't look like them, I don't dress like them, I don't talk like them. If you can solve the problem, you will get it done. And again, let people underestimate you because now you just get to go do what you should have done in the first place and you're special. So look at it, just, it's a spin, it's a twist, it's the way to look at it, but it's true. You know, you go and you underestimate LeBron James in the basketball game, what you gonna get? I mean, you got to bring your A game. And so I just say that to say, don't get caught up in the I'm black, they won't let me. Because there's
Yeah.
too many of us that are making it this day. Don't talk
Yeah.
about, well, if I make it, they may blow us up like they did in Oklahoma. I'm sorry, that was 100 years ago. It did happen, but that's not what it is today. And we got too many African Americans that are proving that every day that we don't have to get stuck in that. And so I just offer whatever you're looking for is looking for you. You go out there and do it. You will find the money, you'll find the team, you'll find the expertise. And also understand that if people underestimate you, yay, because now you can go in there and you can just do what you're supposed to do. And now you're special. And I'm complete.
I
Yeah.
look.
Just, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Tribble.
Yeah, I went to school at Utah State University for my junior, senior, and graduate work years, and so it's a place that didn't have a lot of African American people in there, and sometimes people would kind of underestimate what Black folks do. They always thought all you were there was for sports and stuff like that, and so that was the first thing they would do is ask you, are you in PE? And so because of those questions being asked of me, I got so pissed. I decided to just move my major, so I moved into business administration. And then after I finished undergraduate work, uh, I ran for student body vice president, and I was fairly popular on campus by then. And so I received that. I was able to win that. Make a long story short, at the end of the year, all the awards that they vote on for students, that the white boys wanted, I won all the awards. I was man of the year. I was student of the month for 1 month. The president of the university sent me a letter asking me to if I would be for graduation, if I would be right behind the faculty and the staff and stuff. And then later on, I was doing that because that's just the way I am as a person. But now I look at some of these booklets that I have. I had one of my friends that were there in school. She kept this, book on me, had all the awards that I had received, all of the articles that was written on me. And I just start crying, because we can do more. And if we just need to just be open to ourselves and do everything we possibly can, you'll be surprised how successful you can be.
Thank you so
Amen.
much.
Amen. Oh,
Thank
go
you so
ahead,
much
sis.
for sharing. Thank you so much for your transparency. Thank you so much for establishing a model in which we can identify as success, right? And so I'm so grateful to be here amongst the greatness that is you. I'm so grateful to be amongst a community of like minded folks who want to advance the movement for Black folks towards sustainable wealth, towards financial freedom, towards building empires and networks. And so, man, I was gonna transition us to question and answers, but man, I don't know. I don't know.
Definitely.
We did want to open up the floor for the last 30 minutes to address any questions that anybody had. I will offer two announcements. This Thursday, February 13th, we are hosting an appreciation for the multifamily movement members at La Piñata. We're looking for up to 20 people. Even if you're not in multifamily movement, the doors are open to you all. La Piñata in San Leandro. at 6 o'clock on Thursday. It's being hosted by our movement leaders, Black Ops, and also Remax is sponsoring. So we would love for folks to come and join us for dinner on Thursday.
That's
And
the 13th.
correct, February 13th.
Okay.
Does that mean is there a cost, or I just want to be
There is
clear?
no cost. It's being
Okay.
sponsored by Remax. So Remax is
Okay.
covering food.
And there's a $500 raffle as well.
There is a raffle. I don't know what the amount is.
And we'll get that information out.
Okay.
Yes.
Just
So
checking. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome. And then our next multifamily movement market meeting is March 1st. So every first Saturday, Zoom seemed to work really well. So the market leaders will be in communication. Please feel free to drop in the chat if you prefer Zoom over in person. And then we'll make a decision on whether we'll transition from in person to Zoom for our March meeting.
yes.
And the floor is open to anyone who has any questions.
Lakisha, about those two events, the dinner, do you want us to just send you an email or something to RSVP, or how do you want us to let you know we'd like to attend?
Yep, Ray will send out another RSVP similar to the one for this event.
Okay, great. And then for the next multifamily marketing meeting on the 1st, do we just show up for that, or he'll be sending out another invitation?
Yep.
Okay.
Ray's going to send out another RSVP. We're going to figure out if it's going to be in person. And thank you so much, Paula, for bringing that up, because we're going to be talking about lending. And Paula, if you want to just also share who you are, your org, because you're going to be our presenter for next month.
Yes. So I have been a mortgage advisor since 2003. It started off with George Tribble, as I mentioned earlier, at Jetstream Mortgage. He had a mortgage brokerage, and since then I've worked at various banks and other mortgage banks and brokers. And currently I work for a company called All California Mortgage. We're a mortgage bank and a broker, and so that just means that we have products that we have in-house and can fund in-house. But then if we have some things that are, some files that are not very vanilla, if you will, and they don't fit into a nice little neat box, we have other wholesale lenders that we broker out to so that we can get those deals done. And in addition to that, I do have some private money sources as well. And so I work with several different private money lenders. At my company, we service pretty much everything. We can do VHA, FA, commercial construction, land loans, loans on co-ops, loans on manufactured housing. We have first-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance programs. So it's sort of a plethora of different types of products and programs so that we can address and meet the needs of pretty much any client.
Can you drop your contact, please?
Sure.
In the
Yes.
chat.
Okay.
And her wines are excellent.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that part. I'm also a winemaker.
Yeah.
And so we got to talk, Paula, because on a separate note, I have my the TTDB permit for import, export, and also wholesaling for spirits and wine.
Okay. We
Love it.
definitely need to talk. Yes, yes. So my wine company is P. Harrell Wines. It's just my first initial and my last name. And I have a portfolio of 4 different wines: a Zinfandel, a dry Riesling, a rosé, and a sparkling. So I'll put the information from my website in there too, if anybody would like to check that out.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Ray, I just wanted to throw out to people, so often we don't say things because we don't want to make it sound like we're dumb or something, or we don't know. The reason we're here is because to learn more and be more, and to know that we're in a community where nobody's going to say and judge you for asking a question, because that's why we're here. I'm not here just to hear me talk. I'm here to find out what's missing so we can support you in bridging the gap. We may have talked for 2 hours and never got to the point of what you need. And it's important to say that because, even those who know, I mean, up to my book, I ain't gonna say what I wrote because I scribble, but I don't care about my scribbling. I got 5 pages of notes. And I know what I'm doing, but you can always learn more. And it's always okay to say, I don't get that part. And that's why we're here. So I just wanted to say that for those people who may be thinking, well, I don't want to, they're so smart. No, we're not that smart. The reason I got all the answers, kind of, and I don't, it's because I ask all the questions. Before this meeting, I met with Ray. How do they do? What do we talk about? I haven't asked them what kind of clothes should I wear because it's that kind of prep that sets you up. And someone did ask me in the chat, I saw it. And yes, it was Reverend Eloise Oliver. Someone was asking, I mentioned a woman I'm doing coaching with, Reverend E. Actually, she was my minister for 30 years and she retired. And I feel like that's actually the greatest, sort of to me, I mean, my children are number one, but in terms of just saying, did I do something right? And with someone that I sit at their feet for all those decades, for them to call me and say, can you support me? It's just, I feel so honored, to be that person that she called. And so, yes, it was Reverend Eloise, Reverend E. And so I'm just saying that to everyone. Don't leave out of here with a question. That doesn't make any sense. You got on the phone, you got here to do it. Please ask. And I don't know what Ray's time is like, but in terms of if it needs to be longer, I'll stay here all night because I want you to get it. So when you leave, at least you feel like you got what you needed. So with that, I'm complete. Thank you.
All right.
We appreciate that, Charles.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Shannon has a question.
Yes, I actually don't even have a question. I'm like super excited right now. And I want to say for Charles, for George, for Ray, for Lakisha, like this was the inspiration that I really wanted. I mentioned my age, and what I didn't say is I tried to, during COVID, start a wholesaling real estate company, which failed. It failed because I was the only one doing it. I'm trying to reach out to everybody in my family. Everybody's denying me, turning me down, they like, we'll wait for you to make the money and then come back and tell us, and then we'll do it, right? So along the lines, like a lot of my marketing was going out. It was a lot of expenses and it got overwhelming. And so ultimately my LLC dissolved and I had to sit back because I never quit. And so that's why I asked about the quote, because failure is never fatal and success is never final, but I never quit. So what I did was I revamped it. I took a pause. I connected with Lakisha during another job. And once she told me that she was in it, I like took like a latching to her almost and I'm like asking her stuff, wanting to be invited to this. And I had beat myself up because I was like, damn, like I keep missing it. I don't want her to think like I'm just, blowing smoke. But to be here today is an accomplishment for me. To listen to all of y'all's accomplishments to me, because that gives me motivation to, like you said, keep asking the questions, keep seeking information. And I think the mental block and having that mindset shift from thinking I have to know it all before I get in front, I think that really just alleviated it here today, because now I feel like I have the I don't know, effort, but I also have a support team now. And that's one thing that really is vital, because I was isolated trying to figure out all of this stuff and was getting nowhere. So I'm thankful to be here today. I look forward to whether in person. I heard that some of y'all are huggers. I'm a hugger too, and I wear good cologne. So you know, I look forward to seeing y'all in person. Like, to be honest, and I'm a sponge. I'm a sponge. I'm a blank canvas, and so thank y'all for allowing me this platform to come and be vulnerable and transparent with y'all too. Thank you, Lakisha.
Thank you, Shannon. I'm gonna jump in because I didn't mention that. I want to say something to you because a lot of people say that thing about, well, but I'm not sure what to say when I get in the room. I'm in the room with people, and I swear, they're rocket scientists, and I don't know nothing about rockets. But what I know is it's okay to say that. I'm really good at saying, oh, I'm not sure what that is, but let me figure it out and I'll get back to you. And so all I got to do is be ready with my response to someone asking so we don't have to feel afraid. Because here's the truth, in all honesty, nobody expects us to have all the answers. They don't expect that from us. We put that kind of pressure on ourselves. And sometimes that's our fear giving us the excuse to not go further. So it's
Mhm.
really not about that we think we can. So I'm just saying for every difficulty we have, what we want to do is make a plan about how we address it. And one of the easy ones about stuff we don't know is saying, I'm not sure how that works. I'll get back to you. I don't look dumb by saying that. I don't look stupid. Matter of fact, I look smart by saying, well, I don't know, but I will find out and I will get back to you with the appropriate answer within 24 hours. And I do. Even if I got to Google it, I'm gonna give you something. I mean, but see, so I'm saying, and that goes for everybody. It doesn't matter. I mean, I ran a mortgage company. I started a mortgage company. I traveled the country with Danny. I've done all these things. You could take everything I know out of the equation. I mean, everything I know, and there's enough left to make a world with an upstairs and a basement. That tells you how much I don't know. So the reality of it is it's okay to not know. It's just about being able to understand how we respond to that. And so one of the things I'm suggesting to everyone, if there's something in any process that frightens you, write it down. Okay, men, I'm sorry. Men don't feel frightened. Okay, if you feel unsafe about it, but let's be clear, we get frightened too. It's the way it works. But that's all right. If you don't get frightened, that's cool. But if you feel unsafe about it, write it down and then write how you address it. So when it comes up, you know what you're going to do. And if you have that already in play, then when you get in the room or on the stage or wherever you are, you know what to do and you feel confident about what it is. And I'm complete.
Yeah. Yeah, as an example of that, it was when I was in Utah, I would because sometimes white people come up and they're naive about a lot of stuff about us, but they would ask a question that was really kind of stupid. But people are looking, waiting to see what my answer was, or if I was going to get mad. And I never showed any sign of getting mad, but I would think through it, and then I would give a response that made him look like an idiot without saying bad words, and so no one could get mad. All they can do is just kind of look at him, you know. So, like you say, it's just you have to start someplace, and you have to figure out if something happens frequently. You got to figure out how do you get through that without hurting yourself.
Thanks, George.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Shannon, and for expressing yourself and being vulnerable, man. That's something as I'll say as brothers, as fathers, you shared that you were a father, that we don't do enough is share space and be vulnerable and talk about some of the things that we're going through and be open about it. So
Yep.
I don't want to discount that at all. I want to lift that up and exalt that. Um, so I know we got about time, just good housekeeping. I think we got about a little less than 15 minutes left. I do want to open the floor for anybody that has questions. If you want to plug what you do, I know we got a brother in here that does, I think Charles, you said does tiny houses. I know we got some other folks in here. Did anybody want to plug? Shameless plug.
Yeah, Dimitri
Okay.
got something.
Uh, I'll say I'll chime in. First of all, I have to say thank you thank you, Lakisha, for inviting me. Lakisha has been telling, I don't know if this is the group, but Lakisha has been telling me about a group to come be a part of, come join, come share. I didn't realize how shy I was until I, just kind of listened in and just, heard people sharing. So I have to say thank you. And I'm gonna have to, also say I really appreciate the group. It was almost like therapy in terms of me, having a fourplex since 2024, 2014, and now it's 2025. Working and grinding, and trying to stay afloat. I didn't realize it's been so long, but private investing or being an investor solely by myself, I didn't realize how much pressure, I was putting on myself. So, just to hear you guys all share, professionally and, people who are looking to get into the industry, it was a breath of fresh air, knowing that I'm not alone. Um, So just to say all that to say, I'm a general contractor, um, real estate investor. I have a couple fourplexes that, as the professional shared on how to group invest or invest with family. Those are things I never knew how to do, always wanted to do, always knew what I was investing for, but how to put together those agreements, how to, share the opportunity or the investment. That's something I'm learning how to do now, but never knew how to do it. And I would recognize it in terms of I bought a fourplex. One was owned by two agents, the other was owned by three. And, I'm just recognizing now,
Yeah,
as I was doing it by myself, I didn't process then as I was doing it, like, wow, I'm really not doing it with any support. I'm putting a lot on myself. I didn't realize. So just, thank you all for sharing. And then also, I want to share that I'm a part of another group with Lakisha, and I got on a sweater for a bold concept that I thought of with friends and different like-minded people. It's called the University of Oakland, and we also have an event that we're hosting tonight, very similar to this, where we're opening up the doors for like-minded people to learn how to do this stuff together. In terms of identifying that we all have a shared mindset and wanting to invest in a property, but not knowing how to do it all. We're forming a club called a buyers club that we're inviting people to come be a part of, and we're hosting an event tonight to pretty much share the same conversation and network with one another.
great.
Do you want to share the information? I know you're driving right now, so be safe, safety first. But whenever you get stationary, hopefully in time, we got about 9 minutes left, or maybe Lakisha, if you want to relay it. Um, yeah, just to make sure, because I know you said it's tonight, so I know it's kind of time sensitive, folks to coordinate their schedules.
Okay.
Can you drop it
I
in
think I
a flyer in the chat, Dimitri? If not, I'll figure out how because it's in my phone.
yeah, I'm doing it now, I believe so.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions before we close out? While folks are maybe thinking about their questions, I want to mention that it doesn't stop here. We don't believe in transactional relationships. Um, oh, good. He shared it in the chat. We don't believe in transactional relationships. We believe in long-standing relationships. So subsequent to this meeting, we're going to be sending out material. I know one of the questions that I had, but I wanted to keep it for next time. I always have access to George and Charles. But is for folks who may be at the later stage in their life, because usually how it works is when the wealth accumulation piece happens between within a certain period of time in your life, and then you reach a stage in your life where it's like kind of called the wealth preservation and distribution stage. Oh, I'm gonna yield because I think we got, is it Katina?
Yes, I just wanted to chime in when you finished speaking.
No, 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 please. I'm gonna stop because I got access to these gentlemen. This is your
Um,
time, please.
so first and foremost, I want to thank my friend Cassandra for inviting me. She's an awesome person. Um, I'm from Jamaica, so I'm gonna say stuff that might irritate, but that's not the intention. What the gentleman George was talking about, as well as Charles was talking about, how the immigrants come together and unite and buy a place. We Black folks don't want to do that for some reason. Even I have 4 grown children, and one of them was incarcerated for 9 years and he's out now. And I have a pediatrician, a family nurse practitioner, and a little nurse. So 4 kids. And last December, my son and I, who's a pediatrician, we invested in a little house for my first son that came out of prison. And now I want to invest in something else. And what my daughter said to me, who's a family nurse practitioner, is that I'm being greedy, you know? So They don't have the vision. They don't see what kind of world that we're living in. And they want to go to work 9 to 5 and make 6 figure, but you're not bringing home 6 figure. You understand? They don't understand it. And I don't know how to get them to understand that wealth is in the land. It has always been in the land. Coming together as a unit and buying things and renting them out or living in them, like what the gentleman and everybody on this platform is saying, is really the answer. Coming together as a unit, 3, 4, 5 people coming together and making it happen is the key.
Yep.
So I just wanted to thank this platform for being here today. I honestly get the message. I'm 63. So I'm a little bit in the age game, but I want to do stuff for myself now because I've been doing it for my children to pay the mortgage, but now I just want to do stuff for myself and to leave a legacy for them. Because when you die, of course, you don't take anything with you, you know?
Mhm.
We got to
Yep.
come together as a unit and get it done. We can't do it alone.
I completely agree. And I just want to add that you can adopt me. I definitely am of like mindset and ready to be your daughter, and we can make some money moves around here. You are in the midst of your new family who's going to, accelerate and ascend right into a new realm of real estate, a new realm of wealth building. So your family is right here. And I want to almost say, I guarantee you, once you make these moves with us, your children will fall in line. They'll see all the things that you are doing, all the great things that you're doing, all the intent of creating sustainable wealth for your children, and they're going to fall in line. They just need to see it first.
I'd like to jump in there as well. This is Pastor Ken Lackey. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go for
We
it.
Okay,
can.
great. Yeah, I want to thank Brother Charles for inviting me. This has been a blessing. I always like to be involved in everything that he's doing. I've been building tiny homes for about 40 years. I started off building floating homes. And I just want to reiterate that there's another market out there. There's a market of creative home building. Let it be floating homes, tiny homes, steel container homes. We can do all that. And so there's, as a pastor for 40 years and helping the homeless situation, every time I turn around, Gavin Newsom's got $1 billion, or this year he's got $6 billion for the homeless situation. And there's money out there to build these tiny homes, and there's another source of investment, such as tiny home communities that I'm developing. But I work with Larry Reed. I work with a lot of city officials. I built 30 churches in the city of Oakland. I built $3 million house during the fire up in Oakland Hills. And I built little tiny homes for 30 grand. So I've been across the board. But anyway, just want to thank you guys again. This is great.
Well,
Great.
I'm gonna,
Information, brother. We need your contact information. If
sir.
you're still in the business, we need your contact information.
Oh,
Please.
absolutely. Absolutely. I've been a
Right.
general contractor, as the other brother mentioned. Since I was 16, I was building fences and decks. And then my uncle was the first Black city inspector of San Francisco. So I took it and ran and started building houses. But I really want to focus on these tiny home communities because they're a wonderful development. And I got 30 acres of land. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'll definitely give you all my information when time permits.
Okay. And I'm gonna, because Ken is being slightly modest and not really modest, it's just ain't enough time. Ken was also in the 80s, was Olympian, was a weightlifting, one of the first Blacks. Ken was voted Businessman of the Year in 2018, 2014 in San Francisco. Ken was the bodyguard for the King of Dubai. Who gets to do that as a Black man? I mean, so I'm highlighting that because watch this next thing. Ken is not special. Ken is just doing the work. Ken is walking forward and making it happen. And part of what Ken's message is telling folks, you too can do that. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it is. We just got to believe in ourselves. And,
Yeah.
I want to go back real quick to the sister that was talking about her kids. Because, one of the things about family is that we can't pick them. And just because we are moving in a certain direction, that doesn't mean the people that came through us are going to do the same thing. And, I love, teach them, move forward and they'll probably see it and come. But I remember that, and I'm not the Bible per se, but the Bible makes reference to, if you want to know how things work, watch the ants. And within ant communities, in colonies, the searcher ant is the one that goes to find the food. They don't carry nothing. They find it, they go, hey guys, it's over here. They eat all they want and they go off on their own. They don't have the strength of the colony. The searcher ant lives longer, they're healthier, they're in better condition and shape. And scientists say they're born no different than the other ants. Something just happens and they get off the line. Now, why tell that story? In that story, in every ant colony, 1 to 3% are searchers. Isn't that interesting that 1 to 3% of the people are the millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires? And so sometimes we don't want to say that our folk or even ourselves are part of that 97% that is part of the infrastructure, but we can't make people be what they're not. And so I just say that to say, even though we can choose something different, the reality is some of our children's, our husbands, our wives, or whatever are part of that 97, and they're not wrong because we need somebody. The shirt I got on, I didn't make it. I didn't pick the cotton. I didn't dye it. I didn't put the buttons on. We need all the people in their various roles, and no role is higher or lower or better or whatever it is. Our goal is to find people who are like-minded, that resonate in the same way, and work with them. And so I just say that to say we may never be able to transition someone else, because the truth is that's not our job. Our job is to do us and to be an example. And then if folk choose to follow or go in that way, that's what it is. And so I just say that to say, because sometimes we can get stressed, like, well, why ain't my children or my wife or my husband doing these things? Because I got it. Because you have it. They don't have it. And so it's just for us to do what we do. And prayerfully, they'll join in, but maybe not. But I just want to say that. Take the pressure off of them, because first, it ain't fair. They didn't say they wanted to be a whatever, you know. And even though we may think it's better for them, who are we to know is better for somebody? Somebody could have told Jesus, no, stop that miracle stuff. Go back and build a house. Martin Luther King, why you preaching? Why you walking up? Don't worry about what's happening over there. Go back to your church. Buddha, Gandhi, Malcolm X, Kennedy, whoever, somebody probably said to them, go over there and do that other thing. But no, that's in their lane. So my deal is, do you be in your lane, attract people that fit into it, and family is not about genetics and who had you. Ken Lackey is my brother. I love that man. And I just met him, I don't know when I met Ken, maybe 6, 7 years ago. And, it doesn't matter. So the point in that is to say, do you, the people will respond or they won't, and they're not wrong if they don't. They're perfect, they're divine, just as they are. And with that, I'm complete.
And I'd like to just finalize this real quick, because I know time is of the essence.
I got one last comment after that.
Okay. All right. And I just wanted to say, the gentleman that was saying that he was a contractor, he was driving, and he had a program going on this evening. And we have this program now, 20 people, and he has 20 people. I just went to an event at the Cow Palace, and it was over 10,000 people there praising the Lord, but it was all about real estate. And I wanted to say that when we bring one group together, this is the whole key factor that Charles mentioned, and I think Brother George mentioned as well, that we got to come together. We got to bring these little groups together. That's what I always emphasize on the church, us coming together, because how can we be the body of Christ and you over here and I'm over there and we all separate? So that's one of my goals in life before I check out of here, is to bring some unity to the body of Christ. And I think us bringing unity to this group and this meetings like this, next thing you know, we got 1,000 people and we're meeting at an auditorium, because I think this is great. So blessings to everyone.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I know that Camila came off. Camila, do you have a question? You were coming off mute. No? Okay. Just checking.
Okay. One last quick comment. We have 20 people here, and they all have different sets of experiences and business life, and some of them we didn't know, some of the contractors and stuff. So is it possible that we can just, each one of us do whatever we want to do, no more than a one paragraph? They kind of say, this is who I am, this is what my business is, and this is how I can help others. And then email that to one of you, and then send that out in a package so we can get them all at one time. That would be really, really helpful, because there are a couple of people that that I see that's contractors that I can use pretty quickly. And so,
Absolutely.
That's a great
I'll get
idea.
on that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And that was really the intention of bringing folks together like this. And we have a platform that we use to kind of manage communications. So we're going to
Yeah.
keep it central to that. But I love that idea, George, is turning it around quickly. Folks
Yeah.
kind of identify what their superpower is or what journey they are to realize that
Mhm.
superpower. And maybe you can have a mentor along the way. Um, but before I wrap up, I know we're at a little over time, 105, I think for good reason, because I'm even excited because as Lakisha and I have kind of developed this group, um, and this has been what, how many years, Keisha, that we built up to this point?
Yep. So it'll be 3.
3 years.
Wow.
And this is the first time we're opening it up to outside folks outside of multifamily movement. And so we want to continue to be good stewards and make sure that we bring good people together. So with that, I'm gonna send out some more invites. I want to give special thanks to you all, but especially Brother Charles, Mr. Tribble, and my co-host Lakisha. Thank you so much for holding it down, and love y'all. Please love on yourselves and each other, and you'll get an announcement for the next meeting.
You guys did a phenomenal job. This was really, really insightful, and it's a really great team and program you have here, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yep. If we can make a suggestion that those who want to put whatever they want to put about them, that will help us remember them and know how we fit in with them. If we can just do that and have it sent into you by the end of the workday on Monday, so that way it doesn't linger out, and then that way you can just kind of stack them together and then send them out to all of us.
Roger that, Mr. Tribble. Absolutely.
All
Well,
right.
the way I want to end with, I wanted to invite everyone. I do coaching and, no modesty, no anything. I'm really good at it because I don't know much. I ask a whole lot of questions. I'm Ray. When we walk around, what am I doing the whole time? I'm quizzing folks. Is that right, Pastor Ken? I'm not, I don't have much to say at that point. But
I love
my
it.
superpower is to help you uncover your superpower. And
Mhm.
that's what I live to do.
I
And I've
love
done
it.
it with Danny Glover and beyond. It is a bunch of folk on here, and it ain't about the money. My favorite coaching client was this sister that was 88. She passed away. She didn't have any money, but she wanted to start a bakery. And she said, "Baby, I can't do it for free." I'm like, "Okay, great. Make me a pie." And so every week she made me a pie. I got paid in pie. And it was
I
my
love it.
favorite person because she gave all she had. And see,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's big to me. And she put a little heart on it or something. And then I started getting fat. So I take a little piece and get the rest away. But my point is, we are a community that can come together as a community. And I'm about people operating in big vision. Because there's no difference. It takes the same amount of work to do a presentation for 100 people as it does for 100,000 or a
Yep.
million. It's all we have to do is just think it differently. And I'm saying I'm here to help folk do that. Raise everyone here is there to help each other do that. But we just got to believe in ourselves and say it. And I help people do that. So Ray's got my number, but also charlespatton.com. See, that's how you do it. You get slick. charlespatton.com. That'll take you to my sites and you can look at all the different stuff I do. If it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, great. It doesn't matter. It's just about, I know that it will. And together, we can do so much more together. And I just want to, before I go, just want to thank you guys for having me on and having this opportunity. And I want to thank everybody for showing up because even those who didn't say anything, your energy is the presence. It makes a difference. And sometimes we may not. It ain't our time to speak, but we bring something just in showing up that's valuable. So I just wanted to say that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
All right,
Lakisha
everyone.
and Ray, do you mind if I make one quick comment before we
Oh,
jump off?
sure,
Absolutely.
sure.
So earlier in the beginning of this session, we had some conversations around mindset, right? And making sure that you have the right mindset and you don't, you have the courage to do certain things and you don't have you're not fear-based, you're not operating from a place of fear. And I something that I've been studying for very many years, and maybe many of you have too, but I want to make sure everybody is studying emotional intelligence. There's books out there about it. There's things on YouTube, everywhere you look. But in real estate, I think, and in life in general, emotional intelligence is really, really important. And it's the way you get by, it's the way you really get ahead. And a lot of people, don't know how to control their emotions, and they don't know how to communicate effectively without being angry or whatever that might be. But if you can master your emotional intelligence, you are going to get much further ahead than you could have ever imagined. And I'm going to drop in the chat something I found on YouTube. I just came across it a couple of days ago. It's like 2 hours long, but it's very powerful. And I think everybody would benefit from it. So I'm just going to drop it in the chat. And that's all I wanted to say.
Super.
And Miss Harrell, if you don't mind sharing those books that you recommend, and I could send that on top of what Mr. Tribble asked me to share.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're going to be featured next month. So
yes, on March 1st.
need some
All right.
EQ advice.
Yes.
But thank you. I'm so man, I feel so blessed. We feel so blessed, and I'm really looking forward to the next meeting, and you will get the next announcement. But with that, I'm gonna bid you adieu and wish you all a great weekend, and we'll be in touch with some follow-up stuff.
Sounds great. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Everybody have
All
a good
right.
weekend.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All righty.
Take
Ray,
care.
stay on so we could debrief, please.
Certainly.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Lakisha.
Thank you
Hi,
for
Lakisha.
Hey,
Thank
Blue, what's
you.
going on with it?
Good. How you
I
doing?
need to connect with you. I'm gonna send you a text message.
Okay. You know how to get in contact with me.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right. Have a good one, you guys.
Too.
Bye-bye.
Gentlemen, oh my goodness, just hit it out of the park. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much. I really appreciate. And look at how we're interconnected. You brought Mr. Lackey, Charles, excuse me, Mr. Patton and Mr. Triple. You all have had a pass, Miss Harrell, and it's always when good people know each other, and it shows you that you're going down the right path, that you align with the right people.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you guys because one of the things I know is that it does take a village, and it's not just about people with big names. I mean, like I said, I do a lot of work with Danny Glover and people that do a lot of, but it starts in a very grassroots kind of way. And this is how we reach folk, and this is when each one reach one. And that's how we get there. I mean, you and I are going to talk this week about this voter turnout piece because we're going to turn this thing around by 2026 because this cell phone voter registration is going to shift things for everyone. But then the next part of that is once we got all those people, now we got access to millions and millions of people.
See, you bring up something that's really important, and that's when we talk what was etched in my brain is the co-op piece. And that was the main way from the boycotts, and I'm taking it back in history from civil rights movement to how we really got the powers that be, right? We're tapped into the main source, the most high, but the powers that be who think they're the powers that be, how we get their attention. And that's with our buying power, right? That's with our alliance. And with that voter registration, I'm thinking you're on to something even bigger because if AARP says that they want to get a discount on something, guess what? They're gonna get a discount on something, right? AAA, all these different groups, but they're co-ops. They're cooperatively moving. And
Yes.
that was when we got the attention.
Right. 100%. I mean, because everybody knows it. We're the greatest consumer. We spend 105% of what we make every year. Every year we go 5% in debt.
5%.
And you just, because I mean, a lot of times it's good debt because we bought a house. We did. I mean,
Right.
it ain't always just junk debt. But I'm just saying, in general, they know we the big spender out there. The deal is we don't spend it within our own community, and that's part of and that's really a part of it. But a lot of it is like now, if people don't know because nobody said it, even though people may think it, we can't tell people. We need to tell people how to do the things they need to do. Because if we leave it to them, they're going to go back to what they've already done, which is nothing. So it's not because they don't want to, they don't know how. And this is a great example of showing people how to.
With my co-founders permission, I would love to bring you in as thought leaders and thought partners. We can talk about it later, Keisha, but I just wanted to see if we were to open it up in that way because we are thinking strategically about not just wealth, I mean, but well-being, wellness, right? That's a
Mhm.
part of wealth, well-being, because if you want
Yes.
to enjoy that money, you got to be, practicing good habits so you can enjoy it. I'd rather be a poor, healthy man than a rich sick man.
I like that.
Well,
Uh,
it's true. Well, you know that rich people commit suicide at a faster rate than poor people. So clearly, the money
mhm.
don't make the difference. It does not. And you know, most people that come to me for coaching, they always come basically around money and always ask the same question. Well, if you had all the money and nobody loved you, what good is it? They go, oh, you're right. Love is most important. I go, well, maybe. I said, so if you had all the money and all the love and you weren't connected to whatever you believe in, if you God's spirit that holds all this together, they go, oh, no, you're right. God first. I go, well, what maybe? If you got all the money, all the love, and all the God, but you about to die from high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, what good is that? And they go, oh, you're right. My first wealth is my health. No, it's not. It's a balance of all those things. And so it's really about healing the whole man and woman, not just that segment. But we may get them starting off with money, but then it's about segueing into, but when the last time you talked to your mama? How are you with your kids? You know, I mean, those kinds of things. And, you know, and what I don't know all of y'all, but I know Ray, and I appreciate what you're doing and where you're going. And my goal is to bring that to people, and that's what I do. And as a collective, we can do so much more. But next, if we got access to millions and millions of people, then where do we go? What can we
Mm.
do with that? And that's the vision I'm talking about. And not just, I'm really talking about the whole country. I'm not limiting my thing. And in the way this voter registration piece may go, we have access to everybody. Then what kind of power can we have? Because I think that we're ready for the next Martin, the next Malcolm. We're ready for that. I believe that we're ready for that. We just need people that will lead, not out of ego.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
that's a
you know,
part, and that's a part of the stewardship that we take, right? And I like for you all to be a part of because it's not just Lakeisha and Ray. It's like, brother Charles, or Mr. Yeah, I'm getting it mixed up.
Charles, let me Charles. I'm always
Uh,
Charles. Let it go.
Trouble.
Charles.
It's a trouble. I want to make sure, like we have that trust and that balance, and I want folks that we bring in at this level to be aligned in that from a value standpoint. Because we are in a disarray. We are
Yep.
in disarray. But
Yep.
I believe that we're destined and well on our way to achieving what we set out to achieve.
Yeah. I think we're in a disarray, but I think that that's only because, my opinion, the disarray is what's highlighted. If you watch the news, you watch the world, they talk about all the bad things we did, but they don't talk about the good things we've done.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and so I think that some of that is media driven and it ain't really, I mean, if you let somebody talk about Oakland, it's the worst place in the world. It is
Absolutely.
not. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's the way it's portrayed so
Yep.
often. And so I think that for me personally, and I'm not contradicting all what you said, I'm just saying that I think we're closer to being an array than we've ever been. And with 2 million African American millionaires, the buying power we got, we could have our own banks. We could have our own, we could have all that in house and do all those kinds of things. And I think that we're ready for that. I really do. I mean, and if it's done unto me as I believe, so it is. So, and it's just about, connecting with the right folk to make that happen. And I think that, this is part of that. And everybody wins.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
agree. I think
Yeah.
I think I'm contradicting myself because today was a testament to us not being in a disarray, right? So
Yeah.
today was
Oh,
that test.
But I will just say that the disarray is needed for us to construct the array, right? The disconnect needs to be so that we can bring the connect, right? So to Charles's point earlier, you need the people who are who they are. And you launch what you launch. You be who you gonna be. You gonna do what you gonna do, right? You gonna be governed. We're governing ourselves on such a high level. And I just wanted to thank you, Charles, because you have this gift of ascent, the ability for us to transcend our thinking into a higher level of understanding, not just understanding things, but to know who we are and function at the higher capacity. So thank you for bringing your energy. Thank you for bringing your spirit. Thank you for bringing your expertise, your education, all of who you are, because if folks really understood what this is, it's an acceleration of us into a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of awareness of who we are, and a higher state of being in this earth realm, manifesting at a high level. So
Yes.
I just saw this opportunity for folks to ascend higher and higher and higher. As you were saying, tweak your thinking, change your mindset, think about it this way, right? Coming away from that limiting belief into an unlimited state of being.
Thank you,
Yep.
Lakisha. I'm going to say
Yep.
this. I so appreciate that. It's funny because I'm a guy that will cry. And it's like, because I will. Because you know what?
It's okay.
There's nothing wrong. There's
Safe
nothing
space,
wrong with
brother.
What
crying. Yeah.
one
Yeah,
of
I
the
love it.
issues in this world is we've been taught that men don't cry. And what that says is for men, that means your pain. That means your emotions are not real. And if we can't cry, then we can't love either, because it's also an emotion. And that's one of the dilemmas is that we've been taught that, and it ain't okay to admit we're weak or be scared and I will. And so I'm saying all that to say I feel like crying and thank you because sometimes there's a moment when I do feel like I'm a little on the island and I'm preaching, I'm
No,
doing
you're
my
not, brother.
thing.
No, you're not, brother.
But I'm just saying what I feel though. There's a
I'm
way,
just telling you. I'm just
and
telling you.
I appreciate that. I'm at this point, I'm just lifting up her saying it because I don't know her. And I know she ain't saying it to impress me, but the reality of it is we need that. I mean, those of us that are leaders, we need to be lifted up too. We may not need as much as other people, but we have needs too. And we have moments when we need somebody to give us a hug and say, "That a boy, good job." So I'm really saying I feel you. I appreciate it. I'm glad that the message worked because sometimes with people, they think I'm taking them too far. And I'm like, I'm not even taking you where I think you could go yet. We playing,
100%.
So, so yeah.
Love it. I love it. Well, let's keep this going, y'all. Let's keep this going. I think, man, we're kicking it off. We're still, I mean, and this is, look at what today marks. It's the beginning of Black History Month,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if we were that intentional in the planning. We may have, but but however serendipitous it was, it is, right?
Mhm.
And so let's keep this going. And I feel so encouraged, and I feel like fortified to have you all a part of this. And man, y'all gonna make me get me emotional.
For
Seriously.
baby, because we ain't got emotions. We men.
Yeah, no,
That. But yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you for guys for setting up a platform for that because leaders can't lead if there ain't nobody in the room. Just to be clear about that. It takes the connectivity of everybody to get there. And I just appreciate it. So I'm gonna let us go because we could be here all day and all night. Ray, what are you doing this weekend? Can I see you? Are you around?
yeah,
Can
yeah,
you
yeah. Of course, of course.
Okay, because I think we
Let's
can go
do
for I walk
something
everything.
today. Either today. Well, I mean, I got to get my raincoat today. Now
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about maybe tomorrow too. Maybe we can. There's like an indoor spot somewhere, or we could
Yeah,
be outdoor. Either
we
way,
can meet, or we can
just
meet at
down the
your house,
street.
my house. It don't matter. I just want to get together because I want to. Because I mean, just so I can say it out loud in this room. In Black History Month, I want us to get at least 1 million new voters in Black History Month, and I want to come from Black organizations. And if we can do this with 100 Black men, 100 Black women, and roll it out across the country within the next couple of weeks before the month is out, we can actually say we got millions of new people set. And you know what? Then all those people who may have ignored us will start paying more attention.
Hmm. Yep.
Absolutely.
But also, even if they didn't, it don't matter. We got our own power. We can do our own bank. We can do our own store. We can do our own everything. I mean, and so, it ain't about excluding ourselves from anyone, but just about, well, if you ain't gonna work with us within our realm, we'll create our own. And so, yeah, I'd like to definitely get to you so we can make a plan because I like to
Let's
next
make it a
week.
priority. Let's make
Yeah,
it a
sit with
priority.
some folks.
It's
Yes, yes.
moving. Yes, sir.
All right, you guys. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. And look forward to doing it again or just getting together. I mean, this would be a fun dinner, just sit around and,
Yeah, let's
chop it
switch
up.
the modality up. And let's talk about that. I'm gonna talk about that with Keisha, and then if I could bring it back to the body, to y'all, like I said, I consider you all thought leaders in this, thought partners and thought leaders in this. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna be doubling back.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys again. George, it was great re-meeting you. I'm gonna reach out and catch up
Yes.
with you and see
All
what we
righty.
can do and cross-pollinate because, we all supposed to be trillionaires if we want to
Yeah.
be.
Yep.
Everybody don't want to be,
Absolutely.
but for those who
Yeah.
want to be,
Yeah.
it ain't got to just be Elon Musk.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
All right, you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm gone.
Bye.
All
Have a
righty.
good
All
rest
right.
of your
Bye-bye.
day.
Thank
All
you,
right.
guys. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Excellent platform.
Welcome. It was our pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Have a
We'll be-
blessed tomorrow.
You
You
too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.